Hey everyone, and welcome to Ask MandR episode 232. If you have a question you want answered, leave it down in the comments section below and leave a like while you're at it. Before we get into your questions though, I have a quick little story from Brick Fair, Virginia. One that came as a huge surprise to me. I was just standing around on Saturday afternoon and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you remember me?" It turns out the person that walked up to me was someone that I hadn't seen or talked to in literally a decade. His name? LEGO Teen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Basically, in 2012, came to Brick Fair, Virginia, hung out with me and a couple other friends. Like, we had known him from online, talked on Skype pretty frequently, and, you know, we're YouTube friends, right? And after that convention, he literally just fell off the face of the earth. None of us ever heard from him again. He never uploaded a YouTube video again. He never commented on a YouTube video again. Like, nothing. Just complete radio silence. And times were different then, too. Like, it wasn't as easy to, like, get in touch with people. His channel by today's standards is really, really small with only 1,700 subscribers, but back in 2012, it was substantial and it was like he was someone, right? And he said basically a couple years ago, he went on Google and looked up his name and found a meme from my subreddit pronouncing that he was essentially dead. Because a few years ago, I basically told the story about how I knew this kid, saw him in 2012, and then we never heard from him again, and we all kind of thought he might have died. And he's like, well, this is news to me. I didn't know I was dead. And then he showed up at Brick Fair again this year, and, you know, we chatted for a couple hours. It was amazing, quite honestly. And not to go too deep into it, but essentially he, in a way, got kind of bullied out of LEGO and all of these things, and you know, things didn't sound like they had gone super well for him, and it just kind of opened my eyes to like how different situations can be, like in school. Like, I had a very good time in school generally, like obviously you hate the school part, but like I had great friends, like everyone else was nice, there was no like bullying at my school, like it was generally a great time. But obviously, as it turns out, other people that may be very similar in interest to you don't like have the same experience. That really sucked, but like it was a great experience to see him again. And I ended up giving him one of my MandR minifigures, and then he pulled out a gift for me, which was like, dude, the nicest thing, man. It was so cool. And then he gave me a file for his battle pack, and I made him sign it so that I could always keep it as a, you know, memory, basically, which is really cool of him. So thank you, LEGO Teen, and let's get into the questions. Michael says, great seeing you at Brick World Chicago. Do you think with the recent uptick of sets with clone troopers, LEGO's finally gotten the message that there is strong demand for them? I think LEGO has finally realized that the community is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they're clearly making sets based off what people are asking for now, and they are clearly selling very well. I think the File First Battle Pack may be the highest quantity selling LEGO set ever. I have no data on this, like hard data, but anecdotally, and like what set would have sold more units than this? LEGO's more popular than ever. What really makes a set like this stand out is its repurchasability, and I think this set has probably sold like hundreds of thousands of units, and like it's just something crazy. So they've gotten the message, and I think the fans have also purchased what they said they were going to purchase. Braden says, do you think that the retiring LEGO sets will go on sale before they retire, especially the UCS Star Destroyer? No, nope, they won't. Good luck. Probably not. Like, it's not 2010 anymore. I found some old pictures. $5 battle packs, anyone? Yeah, not me. Oh boy, yeah, that was crazy. Literally like half price sets the day after Christmas on stuff that was retiring, like $20 midi scale sets. All Prince of Persia half off here in some of these images. Probably $30 for that Anakin's Y-Wing there. Like, just some insane deals day after Christmas. And that's not something you're gonna see anymore. Like, LEGO market is just completely different. These sets were so cheap at the time, and like now they're just, you're not getting that sort of deal. The best thing you might get on a UCS Star Destroyer is double VIP points, or if you're lucky, a place like Zavvi would have it for like $100 off, but they don't even carry the set right now, so like you're going to be paying full price for a set like that, more than likely. Jonathan says, in your opinion, do you like how all the Disney Plus content brings out a variety of new Star Wars sets, or do you wish there was less focus on the new shows and more remakes, especially prequel/Clone Wars? No, I mean, if there's new content coming out, LEGO should 100% be focusing on that. It makes business sense, and it's what's topical. Like I want to buy things from the new shows 110%. The great thing about LEGO, and you can see this even better in Black Series, I think they do a better job, is there can be both. that you can always have both. You don't have to have this like dominant thing where for an entire year you release 20 sets and all 20 sets are only based on Disney Plus shows. That would be dumb and like that, but that's also just not the way it is. So I think having a balanced mix is very good. I think the Summer Wave is a really good example of that, and there's not much else to say about it. Rory with a god tier idea for a set says, almost certain that we will get a Siege of Mandalore themed gunship playset next year. Rex, Ahsoka, 2 332nd, and 2 Mandalorian Super Commandos. This would be insane. That's a really good figure selection. I could certainly go for more clone troopers, but still very good off the top there. Like whenever I think of a gunship playset, I just hadn't thought of like a Siege of Mandalore themed gunship, and that just sounds fantastic. It goes with a bunch of the other sets we've gotten recently, like the Mandalorian Starfighter, the Maul versus Ahsoka set, the AAT with the 332nd troopers kind of fits in there. We obviously have a bunch of 501st troopers. Like that is, I think, a fantastic mix of characters, and it'd be a great box art as well. And then the other thing with that, the gunship potential for next year that I had thought of personally, I had seen like Plo Koon's Republic Gunship, and I was like, that would be a really neat way to mix it up. Now I think your idea is better, but Plo Koon's gunship with like the Wolfpack troopers would be a really cool way to get that into the mix as far as different clone troopers that we haven't had yet. But I think your idea is more likely. Brick Me Brady says, is the Lucky Bastard of the Week thing still going? If so, a couple months ago I scored a UCS Millennium Falcon at a moving sale for only $50. The only thing that was missing was the box instructions and like 5 pieces I ordered for free through LEGO. Okay, you should have paid for the pieces. All right, you can't buy something at a moving sale and be like, oh LEGO, you forgot these in my box. That's an awesome find, man. Those yard sale finds can be insane. I just don't think it's worth the time for most people to be going around to yard sales. Like, but dude, that's insane to find that for $50. Tybe Production says, why don't you use reference photos in your reviews? Wouldn't this help you prove how accurate or inaccurate sets are? No, that's a really good point. I probably should be. It would be something that would add something nice to the reviews to give a little bit more visual and a comparison to what you're actually looking at. And so that's definitely something I could look at doing in the future for future new sets. However, I also don't think it's necessary to have like a reference photo to prove how inaccurate the canon for the AAT. You could just say it and be like, yeah. But like it would be nicer, I agree. But I also think of it and I'm like, even with pictures, there are some idiots on the internet that will still be like, yeah, but who cares? Kids don't care. And I'm like, okay, bro, like you get that argument anyway. Like, so to me, it's like a fruitless effort, but I'll probably start doing it. It probably would be nice to try and, ramp up the visuals on reviews like that to help, separate from the competition. Detective Cobra says, hey Ryan, do you think the reason LEGO hasn't made a Galactic Marine Battle Pack is because it has Marine in the name, similar to the reasons why they canceled that drone-looking set? I think you're talking about the Osprey. That wasn't because of the name of it. It was because a couple people protested outside of a LEGO store, and they were like, my goodness, the people are upset. And then they canceled the set. So if the name Marine is the real reason we haven't gotten Galactic Marines yet, then wouldn't it stand to reason that they could just do what they did with the Slave One and literally change the name to, I don't know, Red Clone Troopers, and like they did with Boba Fett's Starship? It's like, to me, you can't say we can't make this Star Wars character because of the name at this point, because you've just proven that you'll just change the name of things with Boba Fett's Starship so that it's still acceptable to you. So like, whatever the case is, I just disagree with any type of excuse for not having the figure, right? At some point, the figure should be made. There is nothing that is like so heinous about a Galactic Marine that LEGO should. They made James Bond, bro, okay? They made James Bond. Everything's out the window now. At the end of the day, I think where LEGO should be, especially on anything that's in a pre-existing IP, if the fans want it, just make it. Don't come up with some dumb excuse and tell them they can't have it because it's called a Marine. That's just dumb, right? Like, just change the name to Red Clone Trooper, or like Special Ops Clone Trooper, or like whatever their Legion is. I don't know, 91st Nova Corps or something, like there's a workaround, I promise. It's just something they haven't done yet, but hopefully they will do, because there are some great concepts for sets out there, like a UTAT would be awesome with Galactic Marines, or of course a cheap battle pack with the Galactic Marines never hurt either, because that would be epic. Matthew says, what did you think of the Andor trailer? All I could think of when watching it was the potential for future sets we could see for the show itself. I mean, yeah, when I was watching it, there were a few scenes that stood out to me. There was one scene that had Phase 2 Clone Troopers, so I'd love to see a set with Phase 2 Clone Troopers. And then I just kind of paused it there and stared at them for the rest of the time. We haven't had regular Phase 2 Clone Troopers since 2014 with the Clone Turbo Tank Microfighter, so a Phase 2 Clone Trooper set would be the Andor set I want most. Rolling Rage says, would you ever consider making the 501st alternative builds. Definitely at some point I would like to do something with that. It's down the line, not in my current situation. I have too much going on. But what I noticed the other day, because I was actually Googling through some of this too, actually, was that the 501st Battle Pack, there are so many different alternate builds. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how versatile this set is, where people have made, like, a Venator, people have made ATTEs, Republic Gunships, Republic Fight, people have made anything you can imagine out of the pieces of this set, which is really cool, because obviously when you end up with like 50 speeders and 50 walkers, you don't really want 50 speeders, 50 walkers, or 10 and 10, or 20 and 20, whatever people buy, right? People buy a lot of these sets. Affiliate link in the description below. It's $24 on Amazon. Get it before it probably retires at the end of the year. I honestly probably wouldn't create my own. I'd probably go on and use instructions from other people and be like, I built everything. It'd be pretty cool. Lucas Smith says, I'm thinking about selling my Grand Admiral Thrawn minifigure. Should I sell it now or after he might appear in the Ahsoka show? So, what I've learned recently is the investing questions will never go away, and so we're just gonna accept that. It's fun. So we have Grand Admiral Thrawn. Let's just call him a $100 minifigure for simplicity. And there's this thing called the efficient market hypothesis, which essentially in like the world of stock market, I think, means that everything that can be priced into a stock price is already priced into a stock price, and therefore everything is fairly priced at all times. That's the idea, I think. And so applying this to LEGO in a way would mean that for Grand Admiral Thrawn, everyone's asking, well, if he shows up in the show, won't he go up in price? But everyone also knows that he's going to show up in the show. And so if everyone thinks the figure's going to go up in value because he's going to show up in the show, and they know he's going to show up in the show, that would just mean the figure should already be up in value to where it should be if he just appeared in the show randomly without any future knowledge. That's the way I look at it. But on the flip side of that, I also kind of feel the LEGO community doesn't follow the efficient market hypothesis thing where everything is already kind of priced in. It could go either way, but I also fully expect LEGO to make another Thrawn figure when the show comes out. So there's like, just like they made another Cad Bane figure. At the end of the day, anything can come out at any time. LEGO doesn't only make sets based on things that show up in new shows. Thrawn could have shown up in a set 2 years ago just randomly, right? So it's just all about fit, I think, at some points with LEGO Star Wars for what they're doing with some of their sets and ships or whatever they want to do as random things that are kind of one-offs, like the Republic Fighter Tank, where you'll get a Mace Windu or 187th clones that didn't appear anywhere, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be made. A little rambly at the end, but I think you get the point. Diego says, do you think buildable figures should make a comeback at least for a wave? Buildable figures are like the worst selling thing of LEGO Star Wars ever. They are never coming back. LEGO had so many of those. I believe they gave like hundreds of them away to like a LEGO Bionicle blog. Like, I'm not kidding. Maybe close to 1,000 of them away to a LEGO Bionicle blog. And I still consistently, at least a couple times a year, come across the Jyn Erso buildable figure at small toy stores. That figure is like 5.5, 6 years old. They don't sell. They literally do not sell. It's retail price and it's not selling after 6 years. That line is not coming back. There's a reason they canceled the Super Battle Droid and 501st Trooper with ATRT buildable characters that were going to come out in the summer of 2018. Those would have been very cool, and I kind of wish I could get my hands on the pair, but yeah, that's just not happening. Adam Bell has a killer idea for another holiday LEGO Star Wars set. He says, Jacko Lantern, Halloween TIE Fighter. It would be amazing. I agree, but I don't know if they'd do a Halloween set. I feel like the Christmas set would be where they want to be with like holiday Star Wars sets, at least starting out if they were ever going to do it as like a mass appeal thing, or at least for like a few month thing. Because Halloween's a way smaller holiday than Christmas. And maybe it'd be a cool like promo set. Like you'd have to go pretty small with the TIE Fighter. It's like a, free with $150 purchases for October 24th to October 31st or something for LEGO Star Wars. Like that would be really cool. I'm totally on board. We need to speak these holiday LEGO Star Wars things into existence because it would be so cool. Dookie May says, what is your opinion on the $40 castle that just came out? Personally, a big fan of it and love to hear your thoughts and maybe a review if possible. So I'm not going to be reviewing it, but it does look like quite the amazing set for any LEGO castle fan. It's something I might buy in a few years, like when I have more space, but it's like the same reason I haven't bought the new roller coaster. It's too big, too much to do for me. I have too much else going on right now, quite frankly. So I love the set though. I think it is interesting that it's only a queen with no king in the castle. However, I think the king from maybe Series 15 is what the king for the set is supposed to be, so there's kind of that match there, which is kind of cool. Maybe it's Series 13. One of those old CMF series is there. And then what also is interesting that happened with the castle is that in like New Zealand, I think, they shipped LEGO Hogwarts Express trains to people that got, like, ordered the castle instead. So if any of you guys in New Zealand got a Hogwarts Express train early and want to sell it to me, I'd buy it, because I do the Harry Potter reviews occasionally. Hit me up with an Instagram DM or email MandRprod34@gmail.com. I'll pay you a lot. Silver Shadow says, what is your favorite third-party LEGO store? There's some really great ones across America. I've never been outside of America to third-party LEGO stores. Looks like JB Spielwarren is one I would love to go to. There's quite a few over in Europe that would be very fun. But in America, at least of ones I've been to, Atlanta Brickco, I think, is my favorite. It's huge. They've got so much stuff all of the time. I've had a lot of fun shopping in there from time to time. Like all the bricks and minifigs are kind of the same. But Atlanta Brickco is just this beast that I don't think I've seen anything that really compares to yet. So they're definitely my favorite. Mr. Lego wants to know why I have sets on the table behind me and how I decide what to put there. Essentially, it's just like a cool thing to have stuff back there. I mean, otherwise my background is pretty stagnant. Like, I don't change the rest of my shelves all too often, but generally on that table, it'll be something I'm like literally currently working on. Like, I was just doing it and then I was like, oh, I should probably film this video. Or it'll be stuff like in today's case, I literally set up stuff back there to just kind of have that I thought would be cool for you guys to see, that hopefully I'll have videos on in the coming week. Like, I got the Galaxy Explorer in that I wanted to do a review on. My brother just finished building both of the Sanctum Sanctorum sets that I was going to do a comparison on. So, like, I just think it's cool to have something back there. And it also, to me, slightly harkens back to a time earlier in LEGO YouTube, back in the early, like, 2010s era, like, where people would do so many update videos and, you know, just be kids in their room, essentially. That's what it was. Be like, oh, this is what I did this week, and this is my stuff on the ground here. And, like, it's just, like, a fun thing to be able to, like, look into someone's space and see what they have. Because I always remember being so enamored with, like, watching people's like room tours and stuff like that, and just being like, whoa, there's that, and like, this is cool, and this is different this time, and I don't know, like, you just, there's this weird thing watching someone else's video where you really like to see their space a lot. That's what at least when I watch stuff, I like seeing someone else's space, essentially. Richard's Domain wants to know if LEGO set leaks are happening earlier than ever. They are not. Although, I mean, it's a give and take thing. Some years things happen earlier, some years things happen later, but recently leaks have been happening pretty late in the process, I suppose. Like in 2019, like the very beginning of 2019, like January, I think we had January of 2020 leaks, like the full rumor list with everything. So obviously we don't have the 2023 rumor list, and it's already, you know, middle of August. So you see the point. We're 8 months farther along than we were a few years back, and we don't have the same rumor list that we had a few years back. Picture leaks are pretty good now as far as like happening later. The rumor list for LEGO Star Wars summer sets in general used to come out like first week of August, like right after Brick Fair, and here we are, no rumor list. So things I definitely think have changed a little bit in that way. I don't think they're happening earlier than ever. I think they're happening later than ever on average. Brick Brothers Production says, what camera do you use? I'm just interested because I've seen an uptick in video quality lately. Well, thank you. I have been doing a lot of stuff. I bought a Sony a7 IV, very, very pricey camera, but it's just one of those things as a YouTuber you make the investment into, and I think it does look very good. It's got a really good like depth of field, like gets the nice blur behind you, you know, so very happy with the purchase generally. And I've also bought like some really cool lapel mics that allow me to do some really cool stuff at like LEGO conventions. So if you guys check out my MandR vlogs, Brick Fair vlogs, they'll be coming out weekly for like the next 5 weeks. Like we're using these mics a lot of the time, and it allows us to, you know, I paid my friend Jared to cameraman for me at the convention, and like it allows, you know, me and someone else to be mic'd up, walking around, just doing our thing, and I don't have to be like holding my phone up, vlogging like this, talking close so you can actually hear me, and it's like better audio anyway. And so a lot of stuff like that I've been purchasing to help make the quality of content better, and hopefully the ideas will match that coming up, because I've been trying to work on some killer video ideas. Cyurkle says, what are your opinions on the rumored Tusken Raider helmet set? I have a couple. One, I don't know where this rumor is coming from. I haven't seen anyone reputable say it, but it would be a very cool helmet set. It is something that I thought would be a very nice type of like bust set. It isn't a helmet though, and LEGO Star Wars designers did say they wouldn't do C-3PO because he's a droid and not a helmet. But then they said, we did the Dark Trooper because we thought it was cool. Tusken Raider I think is cool, and I think they should do it. I just don't think they should call it a helmet set, you know? But yeah, I don't know if that's a true rumor or not. From what I've heard, there are some pretty good helmet sets coming. That's not one of them. But maybe that is like a third one that I haven't heard about. Moib says, I recently became aware of a scam on Bricklink via an email from the Bricklink team. Apparently, some sellers have been selling minifigures from the UCS Luke's Landspeeder in large quantities. What they've actually been doing is selling official LEGO minifigures with third-party custom printing. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the issue and potentially warn other fans who want the exclusive C-3PO. Additionally, Bricklink states that if the problem continues, they'll have to consider further restrictions for listing minifigures on the site. So, I have my concerns about this in two different ways. One, if it is true that people are printing very good looking fakes, that is a huge problem. Like if it's a pad print and it is the exact print, you have a real problem if you're LEGO. However, I find it really hard to believe that of all of the sets and all of the minifigures that you are going to fake as a counterfeit LEGO printer, I guess, you would pick the C-3PO from the Luke's Landspeeder. So I don't know if it actually is that. In fact, I would tell you that I don't think it is that. I think what's happening, because I don't trust a word LEGO says at this point, they have proven to me many a times they are willing to lie to cover up whatever it is. And if you're unaware, what I think has been happening for the past 5 to 10 years at this point at the LEGO factories is that figures have been slipping out. Like they're getting stolen or whatever. Like you've all seen like some of the early leaked minifigures. A lot of the time, those tend to be figures from the factory, or like all of these prototype figures that are now on eBay. Those are all like made in like LEGO machines at the LEGO factory as far as anyone can tell. So like while morally I think like this sort of stuff just, I don't know, it's wrong. It shouldn't exist. LEGO didn't make it and people are selling it and they probably didn't pay for it. Like LEGO hasn't said anything or done anything about it, like, or addressed it in any significant way that I'm aware of. And like as a collector at some point, I'm just sitting here like, this is cool and I want it, and so I'm gonna buy it, even if I know it's probably wrong. So like there's that too. It's just hard to know. Like I can't, I don't know that this was like stolen from the factory. I just kind of assume LEGO isn't making and selling to random people Darth Vaders and blue colors. So in my opinion, I don't think counterfeit minifigures exist like that with that C-3PO. I do think they exist for the New York Yoda. I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't buy one out of the bag myself. They are definitely shaking the trust of their own Bricklink site, which is interesting to me. I don't know, man. We'll see if anything happens through this, but I doubt it. LEGO's been aware of this. I mean, these have been happening for years and years, and LEGO's done nothing, and they just keep happening. So, like, clearly they don't care enough. I Stole Ohio wants to know what I think the most underappreciated or forgotten about LEGO Star Wars set is. The 10131 TIE Fighter collection from 2004. $70 for 4 TIE Fighters, bro! Press like to appreciate!